my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and Hogwarts house sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin. There's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
Well, according to us.
According to us. You better hold on tight, spider monkeys.
Fuck off.
Hi, everybody.
I hate you so much, you couldn't even wait. You couldn't even make this episode 10 seconds of bearable.
Absolutely not. What's up, Arizona? How you liking the rain, girl? Oh, I'm going to be obnoxious. I'm going to be horrible. Bella, where you been, loca? Why did you say that?
Do you think they know what this episode's about?
I mean, if you clicked on it.
Oh, that's right.
If you clicked on it,
you can read.
Yeah, can you?
Maybe somebody is blindly scrolling through, and that's how they're choosing episodes. And in that case, they're like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Well, if you're blindly scrolling through and you land on Twilight, I'm sorry. We've covered more reputable media.
What do you mean Twilight isn't reputable?
Well, it spawned 50 Shades of Grey, so we have to blame it for something.
That's not its fault.
You know, when I was telling my husband about this episode, I said, we're recording a Valentine's Day episode. Can you guess what we're going to be recording? And he says 50 Shades of Grey. And I was mad because I was like, no, but it's related to it. Oh. And he's like, oh, Twilight. So same thing. I'm like, no, it's not the same thing. I'm
really upset that he basically guessed it.
I know. We're getting predictable. But listen, it's one of the greatest love stories of our generation. No, it's good fun, though. I love it. I have a lot of fun with Twilight. I assume if you're listening, you do, too. You're my people.
Or they hate it and they're listening with a hate boner. I
guess you could hate listen, but I'm guilty of doing that all the time.
That sounds like something I would do. I would go listen to an episode in order to be like, that character I hate is the worst house. So,
yeah, that's true. I mean, but that depends on what you think the worst house is.
It's true. It's different for everybody.
And we don't give it away beforehand. We don't tell you.
We'll never tell you.
No. We don't tell you
because we love them all.
That is true. But everyone does have a least favorite house and a most favorite house.
Rachel sounded way more believable than me, and I'm upset about it.
Sorry. I can tell you, my own house is my favorite house. I'd be loving the Gryffindors. I won't tell you my least favorite, though. It's all the rest of you combined, because you're not a Gryffindor. Just kidding. I have maybe like one or two Gryffindor friends. They've both been on this podcast. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know any other Gryffindors.
That's not true.
I mean, on Twitter, sure, like Twitter friends who I love and adore.
Yeah.
But like friends that, we hang out and we record podcasts together to that extent. No, I don't know any Gryffindors that well.
Is she a Slytherin?
Slytherin.
Yeah.
It's funny because I have this childhood best friend and then I have Lauren, who's my best friend now. And they're both born at the end of March, like days apart. They're both Aries and they're both Slytherin. So I have a type, I guess, for getting my ass kicked by these people. Because it's just been since birth, I had a Slytherin up my ass, and now here today, here's the other one. I just can't be without it, I guess. I love the abuse.
I don't know if this is better or worse than me being a straight up lying fucker.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, who wouldn't be?
Oh,
everyone should be.
Shut up.
As I said, we are the best house.
Oh my god. Okay.
Well, what's your favorite house?
Twilight. I mean, that depends on what you mean by favorite.
What group of people do you like the most?
I want to say Slytherin because I think I'm the smartest, but I know a lot of people in my house that are idiots. We're going to talk about one of them today. So
yeah, but here's the thing.
Teaser.
You know Gryffindors are the house of idiots, right? We have the most dumbasses, but we also have some of the most brilliant people ever.
Uh-huh.
It's just, even if they're a dumbass, maybe it's the kind of dumbass you like and relate to most.
I don't know. It's weird. Because I'm bi. I just came out on the podcast. But
oh my God.
Weirdly, I have this I have a type for boys and a type for girls that is completely different. And it extends to houses because my boy type is Gryffindors, like idiot Gryffindors, but my girl type is Slytherins. So, but like a specific kind of Slytherin.
Right. Sure. So that's like for romance.
So not idiot Slytherin. Yeah. So what are you asking?
Who do you want to be friends with? Say Gryffindor.
Oh, my
Say
friends
Gryffindor.
are Gryffindors. And I hate it.
No, I just think it's funny because, listen, you decide what Hogwarts house you're in, right? Everyone knows which one they're in, even the people who make fun of us millennials and are like, let Harry Potter go. No, I won't. Let go of, like, the MBTI test and other personality tests. I will not let it go. Oh, good point. Let astrology go. No, I won't let it go. The stars have told me I'm a Gryffindor. But you go and you buy all this merch. Like, you'll buy... Yeah, I know. I'm like the most Gryffindor stereotype ever. I'm a Leo and a Gryffindor. It's ridiculous. But like you go and you'll spend your money on merch on like the scarves. And if you're a giant nerd, you know, you go and you get house merch. So I can't imagine putting all that into it and then being like, but my favorite house is another one. Like you have to have some degree of house pride. It's kind of like sports teams, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
weird to say
your
favorite house is another.
This has gotten so off track.
Why is it off track? This is a Hogwarts house podcast, you friggin' millennial.
Oh my God.
Toast loving.
Okay. I wanted to talk more about Bella and Edward and Jacob.
Oh, for sure. Me too. Let's talk about them. I love Twilight. And it's 2021. And I've lived in the darkness long enough.
Wait. Don't lie. You don't love Twilight. What do you love?
What do I love? Or
what do you love? You don't love Twilight. You could throw away everything in Twilight except what?
I love Edward Cullen. Edward Anthony Mason Cullen. Born in 19... No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna...
I knew what year he was born.
I know. Died of the Spanish influenza. Turned by Carlisle. Yes, I love Edward Cullen.
No, wait, 1908 is when he died, right?
A lot. I mean, if you consider... Yeah, I guess so. That's when he died and was reborn.
As a creature of the night.
Technically, it was when he was
forever tormented.
Hates himself.
His soul damned.
This is why I love him. He's an emo vampire. And so pretty. And just, I love him. I'm sorry. There's so much Edward Cullen critique. Some valid, some I don't agree with you. But I love the dude. I can't help it. I really love him. I was part of the first Twilight boom. I was a teenager when that was all happening. So you bet your ass I had Edward Cullen posters. I had Team Edward shirts.
Did you have the standee?
I wanted it. Those of you who have seen The Office and you've seen that episode where Jim gives Kelly the Edward Cullen poster and she's like, Jim, thank you. Like, that's me. And I'll show that to my husband and be like, you need to start catering to me more on holidays.
I sent you a cupcake this year that said happy birthday, Mrs. Cullen.
She did. She sent me a box of cupcakes and it said happy birthday, Mrs. Cullen. And all I could think was the poor girl in the bakery who had to like sit there and write that.
Because she saw it on a DoorDash order.
I just hope she thought my last name was actually Cullen. But I do be loving Edward Cullen. So I am Team Edward. What are you, Lauren?
Between the two of them?
Yeah.
I was Team Edward.
Were you always Team Edward?
Yes.
You never varied?
But that is more, and I wonder if this is a Slytherin thing, but that is more due to my loyalty to the first person that shows up. That does sound like a Slytherin thing, doesn't it? Because I'm like, this person put on the work and they were here first and you liked them first and now you're going to change your mind? I don't think so, bitch. Like, you gotta...
Yeah, that does sound very Slytherin. It's just funny, though, because that's also how I get attached to ships and stuff, too. If it's the first one up, I just get attached. Like, yeah, I don't know. I like that Edward was the big thing for her. I mean, how do you pick a werewolf over a vampire anyway? I'm sorry. Just personally, couldn't be me. Why don't we start with Miss Bella then?
Okay.
I've never in my time of reading Twilight or knowing Twilight, thought Bella was any house other than the one I believe. And Lauren agreed with me, but she came to it in this really funny way.
It's because I've never thought about Bella Swan in her house my entire life.
Got it.
I read the books. I hate Bella. I hate Bella. It drives me. It offends me that if I want to be in that world, I have to be in it from her point of view. I am offended that I have to be like this. So I literally read the books like, you know, you're supposed to put yourself in the protagonist's shoes or whatever. I literally stand next to her so that I don't and it's like she's telling me her thoughts just so I don't have to like immerse myself in all this or whatever. So literally had never thought about it until we were like, we're doing this episode. And I was like, okay, now I have to think about it.
Yeah.
And I was really upset. Extremely upset.
Why were you upset?
Can somebody tell me why every Slytherin that's been on the show has been someone that I hate? Other than Jeff and my baby, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Not Steve Rogers. Steve from Wonder Woman.
Good thing you clarified.
I needed to clarify. Somebody tell me.
It's a trend, huh? Listen, it's not. It's a mixed bag, Slytherins. So obviously Bella's a Slytherin. I mean, what house are you going to put her in? If you listen to this podcast and you have any knowledge of the Harry Potter houses, even the like generalized base version that we don't go by and we mock mercilessly, what house are you going to put her in? Do not tell me Ravenclaw because she likes to read. I don't want to hear that ever. Hufflepuff, she has no loyalty to anyone except like what she wants. She wants to be a vampire.
She said.
She really did.
Bella, your mom's going to think you're dead. It's okay. She's only got 40 more years.
Yeah. Fuck that lady. Like, what loyalty does this person have to a community? She said, fuck the community. I want Edward to fuck me, actually. Like, that's it. That's her whole goal. And she is... Tell me why she could be a Gryffindor. Go ahead. You can't do it.
Why she should be a Gryffindor?
Yeah, I'm going through the ones she can't be, right?
She does have some audacity.
She does, but so do Slytherins.
That's true.
Like,
it's how we employ the audacity.
Exactly.
She's not very loud about her audacity. She's very sneaky about it.
She's so sneaky. Oh, man.
Pisses me off. This is what I think I said this in the Marvel episode. This is why I get mad at Steve. But it's because I can see what you're doing. I see it, and you're not. You're being. It's pissing me off because I can see what you're doing, and you're not being upfront about it. That's the thing. That's okay. I'm being a hypocrite because I'm obviously not always upfront about I wouldn't get shit done if I was upfront about what I was doing, but I am a fairly upfront person. If somebody confronts me and sees what I'm doing, I will be like, you got me. I'm doing it. But these people are so self-righteous in what they're doing that they refuse to admit to you that they're doing it. And part of the time it's because I think they don't realize it, but I see it. I see what you're doing, and Bella does it for all four of the books. And the fifth one in Edward's point of view, she does it every single step of the way, and I hate her. I hate it. I hate her.
Wow, so it's not an outright dislike, it's a hatred.
I hate Bella.
Wow.
I wouldn't even say I hate Steve Rogers. I hate Bella.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's not likable. She's just not at all.
She's not likable.
I'm sorry,
Edward
first
falls
of all.
in love with her.
Okay. The simp lord falls in love with her. Fine. Whatever. But
the
Bella,
simp lord, isn't his whole thing that he has never found love in his over 100 years of existence?
He'll look at you and he'll say, yeah, they're objectively beautiful, but you're vapid and shallow, and I have there's no substance.
Because she smells good.
I guess so.
That's
yeah.
The only thing about her.
Let me break it down to you. Here's the moment that I really started hating Bella. It's when Stephanie Meyers had the audacity to put her in a fucking khaki skirt that went down to her ankles, and Edward calls her mouth-watering. She pulls her hair into a low pony and puts on a khaki skirt. And I'm supposed to like this woman?
So
no.
I think we should address something here, because there has been a huge pushback and whole thing Bella is the Mary Sue. Because it's she's nothing special, and everybody in her school is Bella, 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 Bella. And I see the argument, I get it, but I don't want to give her that out. I don't want to give her the out of being the Mary Sue, because that's such an easy out, right? Oh, it's a Mary Sue, that's why. No, she truly is nothing special and nothing interesting, and it's like so weird that attitude is somehow what all these people are slobbering over. Like, poor simp Edward is like, he cannot understand. He's like, oh, and also he can't read her brain. So he's like, you're the most interesting person in the world. And she's like doing nothing. But she knows that doing nothing gets her all this shit. So she just continues to be this awful nothingness.
Yeah. I mean, she's very, you have to take it from the perspective of these kids that meet her and just the town in general. She had this flighty mother that like took off and abandoned poor Charlie Swan, who I adore. And all of a sudden, the daughter's back in town. So she's going to be the hot topic. Okay. And she's objectively gorgeous. So, of course, she's going to be the talk of the town for a little while, especially like.
And she's a new person and fucking Forks. Like.
Yeah. So I don't really agree with the argument where it's like, what's so special about her? I mean, just the fact that she's there and pretty and interesting to think about, like what happened here with this family and who, like,
no, but
Chief
that's
Swan
what I'm
daughter,
saying. Like past like the first month that she was there, it should have been done with. But then it wasn't because Edward and the Cullens took interest in her. So like,
right. And
but then that's the thing that started bothering me about her, which also makes her a Slytherin. Like all these kids like want to be her friend, and they are objectively her friends. Like, and that's what's like. I don't really like Lauren, played by the beautiful Anna Kendrick in the movie.
Jessica.
I'm sorry. The other bitch was Lauren. But they were like, those girls were like obviously kind of like awful, but they were high school girls, and they were absolutely not like, I think, bad people. Like they were high school girls. And Bella's like, oh my God, it's so much work to hang out with these people, and like it takes so much emotional energy. I just want to sit in front of my boyfriend who stares at me and like weirdly sniffs me, and like it's just like, oh, I have to work so hard to pretend to be interested in these people's stupid problems. Like there was one point that I think like there was like an in-group fight going on or whatever, and Mike tries to talk to her all the time because he's super interested in her, and Bella's like, this is so much work for me, but like I gotta do it. And I'm like, you are busy, you're driving me insane. Like I understand, I can relate, it takes a lot of energy, but if people are putting in the energy to you, you have to give it back. Even if you don't feel like it, you have to, or you have to make it clear, I'm not super into being your friend. But she never did that. She was like, I need these people. So I'm like, what?
I guess the counter is that she's solving this mystery, though, of this like actual clan of vampires. Like, why is she going to be interested in human stuff?
But it's not just Twilight. It's all the books that she like remains like this. And like, and Edward's like, Bella, honey, you have to go hang out with your human friends because it's really fucking weird that you are extremely obsessed with just me and aren't talking to anybody else. And she's like, Edward, they're so high school. And I'm like, bitch, you're like 18. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. You literally, and this is coming after all the immaturity that she like enacts around Edward himself. So like, I was just thinking, like, we need to start bringing up, like, specific instances where she's like, Slytherin, and that stuff is. And I was just thinking when you brought up Charlie, in the first book, when they have to make up the reason for why she has to, like, go back to Arizona because the vampire's tracking her or whatever, and she's like, I know exactly what to do. And then she goes in and acts like her mom did when she left Charlie, and, like, exactly like that is the most manipulative, calculated, like, straight strikes to the exact correct emotions, like, crazy. That was bad. That hurt. That hurts my soul. I can't actually watch that scene like in the movie. I gotta skip over it. It's so bad. I could never do that. Could you do that? To somebody I claim to love? No, but I don't think Bella her mom is definitely not her person. Well, like, no, she's not.
She's not.
She cares about her a bit. She has a really weird way of showing it, but she cares about her to a degree.
Here's the thing. This is why Bella is this whole enigma to people, because she's so mature for her age. She is. She's like an old soul, right? Because she had to raise her mother, quote unquote. She had to raise her mom. So her mom's this immature lady who's got this like baseball boyfriend and just gallivants off into the night. And Bella's home like cooking herself dinner, I guess, somewhere in Arizona. So she had to grow up fast, I guess. I mean, when you say that, typically there's trauma involved, and she had the most white bread, easy life of anyone. So she really does have some fucking audacity not wanting to hang out with these other kids. But she's kind of above it all. She is. And remember, you want to talk about like manipulation? Poor Jacob Black, little Jacob Black, right before I start to hate his guts. He just wants to be her friend. Her friend. He's like, oh, you're this cute girl, whatever. Come to the
And she does not give him the time of day until Edward leaves.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't. But what's funny is the kids at school invite her down to the beach.
La Push.
On the res. And she only goes to La Push. La Push, baby. It's La Push. Because
she wants to learn about the Cullens. Because she heard that there's like this whole thing that the... Don't even get me started on the appropriation of the tribe and like how like I don't even... And the making them werewolves, like... fuck you, Stephanie Meyer. Like, whatever. But, like, she goes down there just to hear about the cold ones. And then Jacob, poor little Jacob, who knows that it's supposed to be a secret, but this pretty older girl is paying attention to him. This pretty older girl from the city is paying attention to him. He's like, oh my God, I'll tell you anything you want. And she's like, thanks, bye. And then she goes off and makes Edward her boyfriend with this information and then does not pay attention to this kid again until her boyfriend ditches her. So, like, and then speaking of that, she has the audacity when her boyfriend comes back to go, you know what? I might love the werewolf guy. So what you gonna do now?
Hold on though. We're gonna get to that because her shit in New Moon is unfucking real. Her behavior in New Moon is unreal. And so in New Moon, the point I want to bring up is when Jacob flat out is like, I can't do this. Like I like you. I want to be more and whatever. And she's like, Jacob, but I need you. Like, I will die if you do not be there for me all the time. She flat out is like, you can't go look out for yourself because I need you here, buddy. Okay. And then fucked off to Italy.
Oh my God. I forgot that it was immediately after. She's like, Jacob, my mental health literally depends on you giving me attention. And he was like, okay, Jesus, this puts my physical life at risk, but okay. And then she's like, my boyfriend called.
Yep. Alice comes back and she's like, Alice, I've been writing emails to you that have not been going through. So I've basically been keeping an online diary to myself. Finally, you're here. Bring me to my boyfriend in Italy. Like, and she just leaves. She just leaves. She put her father through hell. I'm a parent. So speaking as a parent, if my kid ever pulled that shit of like 8 months of horrifying depression where I thought she needed like intensive therapy because she went catatonic in front of a fucking window for 4 months and then starts to act a little bit more normal and starts to come out of a little bit and then leaves the country, I am beating someone's ass. Okay? The audacity of this girl to do that to her dad. Kidding me?
And
I'm not going to beat my kid. I'm not
extremely
going to beat my
unfair,
kid.
But like kind of understandable, but
well, what's understandable about it?
It's understandable that he took it out on Edward because he loves Bella, right? So he wants to like believe that Bella was the wronged victim here. And
all right, know your kid.
And like from his point of view, she is, because it's not like Bella's going to be like, Edward might kill me, and that's why he left. Like, so
yeah, it's just it's incredible to have done that to Charlie, who loves her, you know, as much as Edward loves her. She's his everything.
And then the fucking audacity, I don't remember what book this happens in, but it does happen at some point that she's like, after this, and then after she leaves in New Moon, she, like you said, that she was a mother for her mom or whatever.
Yeah.
Charlie has been living alone without her perfectly fine for years. And she's like, what's Charlie going to do without me? I'm like, bitch, he's going to go on. Like, you.
That was one of her excuses to not marry Edward, I think.
That's right. Yeah. She's like, how's Charlie going to, like, how's he going to get on without me? Like, I have to cook his meals that I have been doing for the past 2 years. Like, he didn't exist before I showed up.
Right. So yeah, of course not. Of course not. I'm the most important always. Yeah, no, she's something else with that fucking audacity. And then the end of New Moon is like it's like the worst Slytherin you can be. It's the worst kind of Slytherin, right? She does all this because she loves Edward. Let no one say she's not deeply in love with Edward, okay? But then you love this person so much, and you go to Italy to like get them back, and then you just like dump the other one who's been there for you the entire time. Like, I am not Team Jacob in any capacity. Right, but he's a person. He was a kid. He was younger than her. He just went through this huge thing of changing into a fucking werewolf. And she's like,
because of her boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, bye. I can't. If you have a problem, you have a problem. And then in a clip, she's like, but I miss him though, and I miss like dragging him along and, you know, letting him think there's a chance. Haha.
We're getting into the part that Rachel and I are going to get most mad about. Because we're going to talk about her fucking imaginary children, and then we're going to talk about her real stupid-ass child.
Let's just go right into it, because Eclipse is like...
Eclipse drives me crazy too, right? Because here's the thing. Because both these men, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Sensibly, on both their sides, seeing the other as something that is going to kill Bella are like, and also as romantic rivals, Edward, as her boyfriend, is like, please don't go visit the werewolf reservation. And Jacob is like begging Bella to see that he doesn't know that she wants to be a vampire. So he's like, they're going to turn you, blah, 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 blah. So, and the way that she plays them off of each other, like she runs, she literally escapes from Edward to get to La Push, to the point that like Edward is assigning his siblings to her in order to stop her from getting to La Push or whatever.
Yeah, he gives her babysitters.
And the entire time she plays totally dumb too. Like, I don't know why you won't let me hang out with my friend. I don't know why you don't like my boyfriend. Like, I don't understand why we all can't just like sing Kumbaya on the beach together. Like, I don't get it. Like, why are you so upset that I love both of you, but I love one of you a little bit less, but I tell the other one that I love you just as much so that he gets upset about it? I don't understand. But like,
oh my God, it's so bad.
But there's literally a point where she keeps doing this playoff thing, and then it gets to the point where Jacob's like, fine, I have to kiss you. And I don't want to say she deserves it, because no one deserves to be touched when they don't want to be touched, but she's been playing them off each other. And Jacob kisses her, and that's bad. And then she steps over the fucking line and says, Edward, punch him. He deserves it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You can't. You can't.
I mean, okay, so, well, look, the first kiss, just talking about it like in order of events, just keeping things sequential. The first one is he doesn't ask her permission, really. Like, he just does it, and he thinks he can because he's strong or whatever.
It's bad, yeah. It's not good.
Yeah, and she does have the audacity to be like, kill him. And then later, when Jacob pulls his little stunt, she's like, kiss me to stay.
Oh my God.
She, like, she falls for it. But like 2 seconds ago, you were telling your boyfriend to punch him in the face for it. But now, because the problem is Bella wants them both.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
Right. Which it just is. Like, it's a fact of Twilight.
She's like,
she
Jacob,
does want the two of them.
it's so sad. Like, if Edward hadn't been a supernatural creature who lived forever, you would have been the one. But he is a supernatural creature that lives forever. So you're just going to have to live in this limbo where I would have loved you if it had not been for him. So I kind of love you.
You're the wrong supernatural creature, basically. Like, the fucking audacity, man. She just
and I think does Edward not point this out to her? I swear somebody points out to her that it might be Charlie, you are not letting Jacob move on. Like, it was Charlie. Somebody says that to her, you're not letting him do it. And she wasn't. She was not.
Nope. No, she
wanted
wasn't,
them both.
because she wanted him there.
Yeah.
So then at the end, with this problem that happens is she keeps the marriage, the proposal, she tries to keep it a secret from Jacob, right? I don't know how long she thinks she can get away with that, but it's basically the next morning, because Edward does like the one thing for himself that he's ever done ever.
He's like, I'm marrying this bitch.
Yeah, so he's happy and he says it, and he knows Jacob's listening, and she's like, how dare you? Now I'm gonna go shove my fucking tongue down his throat. How you like that? Come on.
How dare you hurt my friend? I'm the only one allowed to do that. Like,
yeah,
how dare you?
I can hurt him. She's unreal. And then he does get hurt right after this gross kiss that I'm forced to watch and listen to when I delve into this world.
Yeah, he gets hurt in the battle.
He gets hurt, and she goes nutso, and she needs to be there with him, and she needs to see that his bones are shattered, I guess.
In the movie, is that with the part where she's like, Jacob, and she's like...
Well, actually, in the movie, it's one that gets memed all the time, where she, like, runs her hands through her hair, and she's like, Jacob! And it's so bad. Oh, Kristen Stewart, I love you, but my God.
She only had so much material to work with, Rachel.
I know, but we could have done... choices were made. Anyway, yeah, so she's like, stay, kiss me. And then it's awful, and it happens. But then after he gets hurt, she goes to the reservation, and she goes to see him, and it's like, what are you going there for? Just to... Literally, she's going there to pour more gasoline on the fire. His bones are broken. Let's step on his heart a little more,
She's going there for herself.
She goes for herself.
She's like, I need his forgiveness. And Edward's like, Bella, like, let it die. Like, let him be. And then,
yeah, but she can't.
That's the point that he gets healed and then he runs off. Yes, he runs off before their wedding because he knows that she's going to be a vampire, and he's like, I can't see them get married. And so he runs off. And the entire time that he's gone, all we as the reader get to hear from Bella's point of view is her moaning at Edward about how her best friend's not going to be at her wedding, and she's so upset about it.
My Jacob.
My Jacob won't be at the wedding.
My Jacob. You bitch. I can't, guys. I'm sorry if you're.
We didn't even talk about her dream. She told Edward about that dream, didn't she?
Which dream?
The dream of her and Jacob's fucking children. Yeah,
we're not there yet. We're not there yet sequentially.
Okay.
So she does all this.
Who've never read or watched Twilight, are listening to this and are going, "What the fuck?" Because that's how you should be feeling.
After this huge fight and after she breaks his heart, she has the nerve to have her heart broken, okay? She's like, I just broke his heart and it made me feel bad because I've imagined a future now. I can see it in the sunset. 2 little black-haired children running in the forest. Me growing old with my round belly full of pups. Okay? And anyway, she sees it all and she wants it. And not only does she want it while she's crying in Edward's arms for the entire night. I have to read this fucking chapter description of Bella sobbing into his shirt over another guy and her own choices. Excuse me?
I remember. It came flooding back to me, and I can't because I try so hard to especially when I don't like the protagonist like Bella. I try so hard to connect to the closest person, and the closest person I can get to is Edward. So I'm just feeling like the person I love above all else most in the world, losing her ever-loving shit over the fact that I am personally responsible for taking away her happiness.
Yeah.
And this man still, I can't. We're not even on Edward yet. I can't.
No, but it's so bad. What the position she puts him in is horrible. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily because she's a Slytherin, but it is a Slytherin thing that she's kind of putting herself and her own feelings.
It is. It's because she's
first.
a Slytherin. There's no. I love my house. It's my favorite house, as I said at the beginning. No way that any other house in the world would sit in the arms of the Slytherins would barely do it, but she is having, and Stephanie Meyer has an explanation for this, right? But she's having had such a hard time. Edward and Jacob are so close to the same exact level for her, which is not common. You're gonna have. Yeah, you're gonna have the person and then everybody else kind of, but Bella's having such a hard time with this that that she ends up doing this, crying to the other one about the fact that she's losing out on the one that she's not with at the time.
Yeah. And you're right, Stephanie Meyer does have a reason for it, which is good because it's a cop-out here for us to keep her in Slytherin, because otherwise a Slytherin would not do this. They would not go between two people this way. But because she has this magical pull towards him because of something else later that's also disgusting, she just, she has this feeling that it's overwhelming for her and she can't deal with it. And it gets to the point where Edward's like, do you just want to go back to him? I'm okay with it if you go back to him.
He's not okay. He was going to go kill himself, but he was like, you can do it.
No, he was going to, hold on. No, he wasn't. He was going to go wait in the bushes of, the Culette people and watch her grow old and wither away and die.
Yeah. And then he was going to kill himself.
Right? So he had a plan, okay? It's a great plan. Fucking Edward. So she puts them through this, and then still, in the next book, still at her wedding, she's pulling this shit. She sees Jacob. She goes out for her dance with him. I'm so happy you came. Now my wedding is perfect. Not because of your husband.
Right.
Not because
she didn't want to get married anyway, remember?
It's true. It's true. So that's another Slytherin thing, right? How did she get what she wanted, which was sex? How'd she get what she wanted?
And also to be a vampire. She wanted, that was the ultimate thing was to be a vampire. The sex is something she kind of discovered along the way that she was like,
discovered along the way.
I want this.
That's the first thing she thought of when she saw Edward Cullen. Then she was like, oh shit, I can be a superhero too. Never mind. I want that. I want that first. So and that's hard for Edward, and he comes to his own. He comes to the agreement of marriage, right? Because he has to save her soul. But
the marriage was an agreement. He wanted the marriage.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted out of her. But
that's all he wanted out of her.
He wanted her to be his in the way that meant the most to him, and to him as the simpy, heaven-believing thing that he is. Marriage was the ultimate,
It's true. But what's hilarious, right? And again, the Slytherin audacity is when she's dancing with Jacob and she tells him, he's like, it can't be a real honeymoon anyway. You can't obviously get railed. And she's like, who says I can't? If I want to be destroyed by the dick, I will be. And, You know, like the fact that someone challenged her on what she wanted. You know this is a werewolf who gets triggered by the fact that you've even fallen in love with this vampire. And you're going to bring up, to win the argument, to prove I can do what I want. She could have been murdered right there if he changed. She's like, I'm willing to die for it. That's on me. That's not on Edward. Like,
that's not on Edward.
Do you see that meme that's like, if I die, it's on me.
Oh, yeah.
It's not on him.
Yes.
But literally, like, I can probably see maybe Gryffindor is doing this, but just like not thinking even about the consequence of that action in that moment because she was so angry that she was being challenged and being told that something she was doing was incorrect. She was like, actually, logically, I can make this happen. And I'm strong enough and I can. She worked really fucking
hard for that. She got married, which was an ordeal. So she worked hard. She's gonna brag about it.
Yeah, basically. And I think she was just so offended that he thought she couldn't be in control of that moment.
You know what? You know what else drove me crazy? You know what else drove me crazy about her? She couldn't even. I was serious. This marriage is all Edward wanted. And it was a big deal at Alice, too, because Alice is into the whole party planning, blah, blah, blah. And she couldn't even pretend to put in any effort to be remotely, outwardly, even a little bit into it in any way. She flat out refused. The entire time they're trying to have fun with her picking out her dress. She's like, I don't care. Whatever. Alice, I'm only doing this to suck dick. I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. I do not care.
This is
and Edward's
Lauren,
literally Edward is literally begging her to have some chance of getting into heaven. That's what he some chance. He's like, God, please don't let me destroy your entire eternity and rest and God, please do. And she's like, this means nothing to me and you're stupid, right? And I'm like, Slytherin. That's
it's a Bella thing. She does this all the time. They throw her these extravagant parties. They buy her expensive gifts. They do all this stuff.
I hate presents. I hate surprises. Yeah. Don't do things for me.
It's such a Slytherin thing to not even be able to lie about your feelings that way. She doesn't even bother trying to hide it. For their sake, she's just like, you know me. This is what you signed up for. I don't like it. So keep your fucking expensive radio and tickets to Arizona and whatever. I'd rather you don't. Can you just bite me and give me immortality? It's the only thing I want, right? And it's very Slytherin.
Extremely. It is. And not all Slytherins have to be like that. They may feel that way, but you can absolutely be a nice person. Bella just did not care to do that. So, and somehow these people still fell all over their fucking asses to
It's true. And now we've been talking about Bella for a long time. So just to wrap it up, I do want to talk about her as a mom, right? Because her whole role here with Renesmee.
We have to talk about Renesmee.
Extremely Slytherin too. Extremely Slytherin. The whole ordeal of getting pregnant, first of all, this is all her fault. Okay? It's all her fault. And she gets pregnant and okay, valid, you want to keep your baby, right?
No, obviously, it was not.
Listen, as a mother, okay, and a feminist, I'm not going to tell a woman what she can do with her body.
Rachel and I have had this discussion a lot of time because once you get past all the bullshit, Edward's her person, right? Edward's her person. He's her person. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense. Edward's her person. It has to be that. And the fact that she's Edward's Bella, I'm going to, Bella, he's literally wasting away over the fact that she's going to die because of this baby. He's ready to get rid of this baby. He cannot stand it. And she's sipping on blood up on her throne with her feet up on his back. And she's like, do it. I'll watch. I'm there's no way.
I remember when Breaking Dawn came out, because remember, I was a huge Twilight person and I was on the message boards. I would read fanfic. I was all in the Twilight fandom, okay? And Twilight was not well received by some people. And I think it's because, I'm sorry, not Breaking Dawn wasn't received well by some people.
I was that was a very, very...
yeah, my bad. It wasn't well received because, and I felt at the time and I still feel now, because she got pregnant and so much of Bella changed. And I think this is the author's fault, okay? Because she's coming from the position of a mother writing. And when you become a mom, your kid's the most important. That's it. And if you want a baby, right? If you want this child, that's it. They're number one.
This thing was fucking 4 hours old, and she was like,
I understand. But she's coming from the perspective of writing from a mother's perspective, and this was weird for people. It just it's very you have to be. You don't have to be a mother to understand it, right? But it is very it becomes your whole world. It very quickly, and I think she so quickly went from teenager to mother where this baby's number one, that it was hard for readers to understand. And we had this discussion with Thor, where he did things that were kind of out of character for a Hufflepuff. This is a little bit out of character for a Slytherin. And I'm not saying Slytherin mothers don't put their babies first, right? But she does have a person already, and she's destroying that person through keeping this child.
No. I would agree. And it's like, you're absolutely, like, Slytherins are mothers all the time, and your child is, like, one of the most important things to you. And it all comes down to, like, the not as weird as Hufflepuffs, but there's some degree of, like, leveling to go on with this. And it's like, and if it comes down to, like, sometimes your child can be your person, but then also you can have a person and your child. And if it comes down to, do I pick the child or the person, it's going to be circumstantial and very specific. And so my argument is the circumstances of which I see with Bella are not.
Well, we're not playing by normal rules here anyway, because it's
true. But like, it's like if we want to go back to, like, here I am, Supernatural, when they're like, Kelly, your baby is Satan. Put your hand on this Bible, and it bursts into flames. And she's like, I'm gonna keep it. I'm like, Kelly, like, what? It's like the same thing.
I think a lot of authors like to do this, though.
The baby's like 4 hours old. Edward immediately gets her home, gets Carlisle to look at her. The baby's now a day old. What? And Carlisle's like, it's gonna kill her. And Edward's like, Bella, please. And she looks him dead in the face and goes, die.
But it is very Slytherin because it is Slytherin, though, isn't it? Because she's very like, this is what I want. That's it. This child has become my ambition.
So that's where, like, it comes in, I guess, like, where, like, the end goal overrules who's your person. Like, her brain decided the baby is gonna be born and live, even if I never meet it.
Because of the maternal instinct, and this is something
and because she had a baby about little Edward Jacob, the little dream about little Edward Jacob.
Now, remember, she's also got this whole magical component to it where the kid is tied to Jacob. So it's really, like, intense. Like, obviously, she loves her baby and everything. But there's also this pull, too. So she's forget regular pregnancy hormones. She's going nutso. But it is kind of that trope where I feel like Stephanie Meyers was really trying to just age her, like, mature her and turn her into mom Bella now. And it was hard for people to connect to. And it's even hard now to understand how she could be willing to go through with this baby. Like, she didn't know if she was bringing a fucking demon into the world. Genuinely, this could have just been a demon baby, and she was willing to die for it. And any mother who wants a child would be willing to die for their baby. But this isn't a normal, it's not a normal circumstance. It's just, It came from Edward. And this is another thing. Edward's still her person. This is part of Edward. She doesn't want to get rid of something that's part of him. Even if he's telling her no,
even though
she knows
like,
better.
Literally, it is killing me. Like,
yeah.
And this is a fucking pattern with Bella too, because we can throw back. Rachel and I were talking about this right before we started recording. Edward leaves her in New Moon. She unintentionally looks like she commits suicide, even though she would have liked to. She wasn't actually trying to. She jumped off a cliff. Alice saw it, thought she was dead. She wasn't. But she realizes that this is what upset Edward, and it is therefore always present in the back of her mind. And I was telling Rachel this, and she didn't remember it, but there is a point in Eclipse, because Edward likes to constantly bring up, like, maybe I should, like, it's better for you if I leave again, and blah, 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 blah. And there is a point where she's like, Edward, you saw what happened last time, and I can't say that it won't happen again. And, like, she's really, really pushing that, like, I'm just not gonna be alive if you leave.
Like, simply will stop breathing.
Yeah. It's like, just I just won't be on this earth anymore. And Edward's like, well, and that's literally the only thing that I can't have happen. So
yeah. She's just extremely manipulative, even down to becoming a mother, down to getting married, to having sex.
Down to becoming a vampire. Like, and that's the thing too, like that Edward Cullen, the second he meets Bella Swan, has two goals in life. She must never die until she's old, and she must never be a vampire ever. Like, those are his two objectives from that point on. If you read Midnight Sun, literally every other sentence is him, like, screaming at Alice because she'll never be a vampire. And, and that's literally him throughout the entire series, whereas Bella, like, figures out this, what are you? Say it, vampire. And she's like, that's going to be me. And Edward's like, no. Like, literally, they get together, like, officially at the end of Twilight. The opening of New Moon is her having a fucking panic attack because she had a dream that she looked like her grandma. And she's like, Edward, I can't grow old. I'm turning, what was it, 17 today? And he's like,
yeah.
Why did I sign up for this? Why am I here?
And then the opening of Breaking Dawn after she wakes up, after you get through like the excruciating vampire description of turning, it's just like, I knew I was born for this life. Like, it's just, I was always supposed to be this.
Every single vampire that meets her is like, oh my God, you're like the most well-adjusted newborn I've ever seen. It's like you were like built to be a vampire. And Carlisle is like, oh my God, Bella, like I would have made you a vampire naturally if I had found you. Like ridiculous. And like the entire war doesn't happen because, oh my God, Bella's power is just so amazing. She can put up a fucking shield. And like that means that the Volturi will never hurt them. I can't. I'm sure some of you have to have. We are technically still a Harry Potter podcast. If you've ever seen a Harry Potter musical, and at the end, when Harry's fighting Voldemort, I put that in quotations, and he's like, my mother put a love shield on me. And Voldemort's like, the fuck is that? That is literally all.
Oh my God, that is it. That's literally it. Holy shit.
We spent like an hour talking about Bella.
We gotta go on to Edward because I was just gonna talk about him anyway and just be like, remember when he tells Jacob?
You want to end with Jacob?
No, never mind. You're right. Let's talk about Edward. Let's talk about Jacob. I apologize in advance if you really, really like Jacob. I don't know why you would.
I do not hate Jacob.
I hate him.
I think he's very annoying. But this will make up for the fact that I went so hard on Bella that Rachel is now going to be like this about Jacob. So
he's one of the worst characters I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. I cannot stand him. I give him a pass in the beginning because he's literally a kid.
He's 16,
but then
15.
As he's forced to grow up quicker and he becomes part of this magical world and definitely knows right from wrong and how to behave, he makes all the wrong choices to me that I can't stand him. I can't stand him.
Is this your least favorite house?
Sorry. No, not at all. He's just my least favorite person. So I am sorry to Hufflepuffs out there. You have to claim him. But you do, because we always talk about community with Hufflepuffs. I know we do. We're always like
Rachel,
community.
you might not learn it. I don't know if she ever has said it on the podcast, but she does this to me every time. Every time it's somebody that she doesn't like, and I'm like, where are we sorting them? She's like, squib. I'm like, Rachel, that's not what's happening. So that's what she did with Jacob. She was like, squib. And I was like, no, he's a house. Like, I know you don't want to think about it, but he is a house.
I didn't want to think about it. I do. I immediately, like, if I really don't want to think about where you'd go, I give you no powers. I award you no points. But yeah, he is a Hufflepuff. And like I was saying, we really do talk about community a lot with Hufflepuff. But I mean, it's the huge, it's an enormous part of being a Hufflepuff.
And I hate that we are falling into a stereotype, but stop being so stereotypical, Hufflepuff.
True that.
I don't know.
I mean, really, like he's literally part of a wolf pack. You don't get more community based, like. And it's what he cares about. Now you could argue with me and say he cares about Bella more. I don't agree.
He also wanted to bring Bella into the wolf. Like he wanted her to live on the he wanted her to live on the res, and that was like
her to be part of his.
That was
community.
one of her fantasies at some point. She was like, maybe I can be like, what was the lady's name who had the scarred face? Emily. Yeah. She's like, I'd just be just like Emily, and I'd go to these wives' werewolf meetings, and like,
my God.
And Jacob would have been all over that. He would have loved that.
He would have, yeah. Because it's a big deal for him. His dad's chief, and he is, do they call it an alpha in Twilight?
Yeah, they call it, because, because this is one of the things that I was going to talk about with Jacob too. So like when he doesn't know what's going on, and it's his it's Sam, and like Sam and his gang are doing something weird, and then his two best friends get sucked into it because unknown to Jacob, they turn into werewolves, and then they get like indoctored into the pack or whatever. And so like Jacob is all upset about it, and it's because there's this other separate community forming without him that he's not a part of, and blah, blah, blah. And so then when he does become a werewolf, it's like he's not happy about it, and he's like mad at the vampires. It's their fault that he's a werewolf, but he is okay with the pack, like they like talking to each other in their brains or whatever. And there's this whole thing where Jacob's dad is chief, right? And his great-great-grandfather, or whoever it was the alpha. So as soon as he became a werewolf, Sam was like, okay, now you be the alpha. And Jacob was like, no, it's fine. And we've talked about that with Hufflepuffs before, like Thor. Like, they're not... they're fine with being the leaders if that's what their community is, but they're not like they're not as into it as Slytherins and Gryffindors are. Like they're just like,
It's true.
I'm chill just being a part of the community. I don't have to lead it. And even in Breaking Dawn, when he like breaks away with them because all these werewolves are rightfully like, we need to kill Bella's baby, and he's like, no,
Rightfully. This baby, guys. He hates this baby.
So he like comes to the conclusion that, yeah, maybe the baby is like an awful abomination, but I love Bella. So so he like breaks off, and Leah's brother, who's I don't remember his name, Seth. Yeah. So they go off with him, and they're like all over. Like Seth is all like, you're the alpha now, and Jacob's like kicking this kid, like, leave me the fuck alone. Like he did not want to be in charge.
Nope, not at all. And he takes on, and so this is the thing, Hufflepuffs are definitely naturally good leaders. It's just like Lauren's saying, they don't naturally, they're not inclined to take up that mantle unless they have to, unless it's good for the community.
Unless it's how they'd be useful to the community. But they're totally content just being a role in the community, whatever that role needs to be.
Completely.
Yeah.
And he, it's true, like when he has to become the leader of the pack, he's so annoyed about it. He's like, oh my God, leave me alone. I want to be a one-man wolf pack. But it's not really the truth. It's just that he's so overcome by all the crap going on with Bella that he doesn't want other people in his head. Yeah. And he does not want to have to share his thoughts. Something that's like really common with Jacob throughout the books as he gets into this mind reading thing. He doesn't like that Leah's thoughts about Sam and what Sam did to her, like everyone can hear it.
Oh yeah. And it's like, it's a weird, like when another member of the pack is in love with somebody, then like all the pack feels like love and protection for them. And like if somebody else is thinking about having sex with their whatever, then everybody else like
they know.
Yeah.
And he wants to keep that private. And so that's hard for him too. So it's not that he wants to like not be part of the community anymore. He's just so tormented that he breaks away. And sometimes Hufflepuffs will do this if they feel the need to, if they have to. And it like will almost kill them if they have to. And this was really extremely hard for him. He's not happy about it.
I think we've seen it with every single Hufflepuff. And it's during their period of transition when they're moving from one community to another, where they like need to be I could literally name it. Like when Cass is moving from heaven to the Winchesters and he's doing his shit all alone. When Thor is moving from, it's during Infinity War and through Endgame when he's moving from being the presumed next leader of Asgard to being like, I'm going to go off. I'm trying to, I don't even know who, Regina, when Regina's moving from like this fake community that she'd built of all her minions to being a part of the fairy, like they all go through this like super angsty, like self-discovery. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is it for Jacob. Like it's not like he doesn't want to break away from it, but it's better for him ultimately that he does. He comes in, he creates his own new community. He's the alpha of his own pack, right? So that becomes Jacob's thing. But community is not the only reason he's a Hufflepuff. It's also the way he deals with things, right? I love to bring up when Hufflepuffs other people because I find it so funny that they can do this because I can't, right? As a Gryffindor, I can't other anyone.
Jacob's probably the most extreme case of it because he quite literally is like, I will kill the vampires when the vampires are like, they're actually reasonably very nice people. Like
ultimate Hufflepuff Nazi over here. Like ultimate. He hates them, which, okay. Fine. You have this biological, like, innate, whatever hatred of them.
Right, and you've heard stories about vampires, and, like, vampires are evil, and...
Okay, sure. But it's not because of that. It's because he loves Bella.
No, but, like, that's, like, what was on top of, like, this... Before he knew he was a werewolf, the stories you hear as kids that, like, vampires are evil, like, probably contributed somewhat to it. And then you've got the fucking... town doctor with his extremely sweet, nicest wife in the world baking you pies while the doctor saves your fucking idiot friend's life. And Jacob's like standing behind them like, how do I not rip them apart? How do I not do it? Dude, you gotta calm down.
And I'll give it to Jacob by like more towards the end, he does start to like feel bad for Esme, starts to remind him of his mother and whatever, but he still can't get over the prejudice. He cannot completely get it out of his system. He hates them. So yes, it's a combination of childhood stories about the cold ones and a vampire has stolen the girl he loves. He didn't steal her. You never owned her, you bastard. I hate Jacob Black. Anyway, so I get it. I get it, but it's just so funny because the second I was thinking about Jacob, I think I initially thought maybe Gryffindor because of the hot-headedness.
Okay.
But the othering, oh my God, even the other werewolves can get in on it. Like they can be cool with the Cullens. You see Seth, you see other ones, like even Billy, he gets on with Carlisle, fine. Jacob can't do it. It's such a Hufflepuff thing. He can't. He doesn't even try.
No, he doesn't even pretend when he becomes Renesmee's future fuck buddy. Like he's
still hates them. Bloodsucker.
Yeah.
Like literally always bloodsucker. Like he can't stand them. And Edward's like, I'll murder you. This is my daughter. Like I'll literally, he's like, bloodsucker.
So, that's annoying. Like that would drive me crazy. Like
he is annoying.
Arrogance in the face of I'm quite literally going to murder you. Like I will be like, no, for real.
I find him so completely annoying. Okay, so something that I think that we've really only seen in Hufflepuff sometimes when they choose to like exert it. You see it a lot with Regina. With others like Thor and Cass, you don't see it that often, but you see it with Jake. Is this manipulation, like this underhanded manipulation? And it's not always so. It's very well hidden, right? They're good at
because it's not
they're good at leading you along.
Yeah, it's not like manipulation in the same vein that Slytherins do it. It's almost like it's just like you're a part of. They understand you so well as a part of the community, and it's like so Hufflepuffs they have their role in the community. This is how I'm useful to the other people that matter to me, whatever. And they figure out your place. They figure out your place and how you are, and then they poke like they do stuff to it. Like they start to undermine it. They start to make you doubt it. They can do that because they understand it so well. Because that's all they think about. Like, how can I serve others? And then they look at you, and that's how they look at other people. How are you, sir? And then they get you. So he does do that. He does do it. He does it with Edward really well. He's like, he's like, oh, what? You're Bella's boyfriend. You're supposed to be loving and protecting her, and blah blah blah. Aren't you like gonna kill her and never be able to have sex with her and never give her a baby? Like, doesn't that bother you just a little bit that you're gonna ruin her life? And Edward's like, damn, you got me.
Yeah, it's true. But it's even like just okay. Again, we hate Eclipse. Like I can't stand.
I love Eclipse. That's my favorite one.
Oh, is that a joke? Are you sick? That's your favorite one? We were just talking about how Eclipse pissed us off, and then you hit me with that? You sicko? What do you mean? Back that up. Why is it your favorite?
Because I love how pissed off Edward gets.
Please.
It's like the only time that he's not like this, like,
he still
the only time that he fights for himself. He deserves it. He deserves it.
No, it's not enough. It's not enough. And
whatever,
it's
say what you were going to say about Jake.
My God, she just pissed me off. Okay, anyway, it's when he is in that whole point of Eclipse where he hears, oh, she's going to get married to this guy. All right, I got to do something big. What's he do? Threatens to kill himself in the middle of this, like, battle
it's not as outright as that. He's like, I'm going to go fight in the battle, and I'm not going to try really hard not to die. Like,
what is that, Lauren?
He didn't say I'm going to go throw myself off a cliff. He's like, I'm just not going to care about what happens to me.
I'm sorry, I didn't quote it correctly. He threatens to kill himself.
I wasn't trying to quote it correctly. I was just trying, because you were trying to talk about how he's manipulative. He didn't outright go say, I'm going to go, like, throw myself on a sword.
But that's what I'm getting at, too, though, about the type of manipulation with the Hufflepuff. It's not outright like, hey, here's what I'm doing to manipulate you. It's like, it's underhanded.
No,
right? He doesn't come out and say it.
He sees Bella's thing, and this is the thing, too. It shouldn't be Bella's thing only with Edward, that she's like, Edward can't die. Yep. I have to be the reason that Edward can't die. But because of this weird-ass problem that she has, it's also her thing with Jacob, and he sees it. He's seen her having problems with it, so he's like, Bella, I have to go, and something might happen to me. It would be a shame if I'd never kissed you, like, willingly. She's like...
Yeah. Yeah, that's a completely accurate summary of what happened. Yes, he does. He calculates in his head, okay, this dumb bitch, she really cares if I die. Like, maybe she doesn't want to be with me romantically more than the vampire, but she, like, cares if I die. So that's what I'm going to use. Oh, yes, I got it. Hey, I'm not going to try super hard. I'm going to, maybe I'll let them take a little chunk out of me. Maybe that'll happen. What do you think about that? bitch. You got engaged, bitch. Like, that's literally Jacob Black's brain. This is why I can't stand him. Like, anyway, that's what he does. And he manipulates her into kissing him.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
Because he knew kissing her first was wrong. Like, he literally assaulted her in the beginning of the book. And now he knows, okay, I've learned from that mistake. Now I'm going to get her to do it. Genius plan. Like, this is also why I thought maybe
he's, like,
Gryffindor,
got no remorse for it either. Edward comes back and tells Bella, like, he wasn't actually going to, like, try to die. And Jacob's, like, literally like, ha ha ha. And then he goes off.
Oh, he's the worst. He's the worst. He's so bad.
I'm sorry. I started laughing, too, because you started talking about this, and I just had the vivid memory of Edward offering to let Bella have sex with Jacob in order for her to not want to have sex.
I said this before when I was like, he said, you if she wants pups, that's what you can give her. Like, literally, he's like, fuck my wife, please. But we'll get to that with Edward.
And Jacob's like, okay.
Yeah. No. Oh, my God. This is so funny, right? He knows that's wrong and gross, but part of him, he's like, but, like, part of me, like, my dick's reacting a little bit. Like, the idea of it. Like, even though she's 3 pounds right now and pregnant.
I'm just remembering an even more specific instance. When they're in that fucking tent in the snowstorm waiting for the battle to start, and he's in the sleeping bag with her, and Edward's sitting across from them, like, staring at them, all upset because he can't keep Bella warm. And Jacob's like, you sad about this? You said you can't make her warm?
No, and Jacob's
it's killing
like,
you that I'm so useful to her, isn't it? He's like,
yeah, look at how useful I am, bloodsucker. And literally, Edward's like, can you keep your thoughts to yourself? And Jacob's like, no, I can't control my, like, wet dreams or whatever, man. Like,
he's like,
sorry.
I'm thinking louder.
Yeah. Oh, God, he's such a hothead. Like, this is why I had a lot of trouble with him, because the temper, like.
But all werewolves have a temper. Like, that's their thing.
I know. That's true. And they're not all Gryffindors. But he's just so arrogant about everything. And you don't always see that with Hufflepuffs, right? You see it with Regina a little. But it usually comes out of insecurity.
I was going to say, and it is with Jacob. It's insecurity.
It is.
Because Bella didn't pick him. That's what happened.
It's fully an insecurity. Yeah, it's all false bravado.
When in Midnight Sun, Edward reads his brain a little, and little baby Jacob's thoughts are like, "Oh, look at this guy's car. Look how cute he is. Like, look at, like, this is Bella's boyfriend. Like, no wonder she can't, like, she doesn't care about me or whatever." And like, and you have to logically assume that Jacob becomes a werewolf and gets brawny or whatever. These thoughts are still circling because Bella did not pick him. Like, that's just what happened.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I say because that's baby Jacob, right? I don't have a problem with little Jacob. It's when he gets older. Like, I think what really cemented it for me is that whole moment in Eclipse where I really was just like, you bastard. Because it's just like, okay, she cares that I'm going to die, so I'm going to threaten her with it so I can make out with her. And then at the end of it all, he's like, even though I know you're not going to pick me, I'm still going to say, like, I know you love me. Like, I know it. And I'm going to let that hurt you a little bit. I'm going to let that sit in your stomach and in your heart and just let you think about it a little bit. And he loves it. He loves that he's getting at her. Yep. He likes it.
Yep.
Because it's the only reaction he can get from her, because he's not going to get, like, actual love, actual relationship. So he's pretty much the epitome of I'll take whatever I can get from you, which I find pathetic. I do. I find him to be a pathetic character, annoying, arrogant. Anyway. Yeah, he's something else. I can stop talking about Jacob Black now.
I was just looking at the time. I think we've literally talked about him for like maybe 15 minutes. Bella was like an hour. I can't stand him. We're about to do another hour of Edward. I'm telling you right now. Sorry, Hannah.
Yeah. There's a lot to say about the love of my life.
Yeah,
actually.
I'll close it up. I don't really have anything else. I think that speaks more than enough to why Jacob is a Hufflepuff.
Yes. There's not much more to him, right? He's not a major...
There's not.
Whatever.
We've listed basically every major thing that he does. Yeah. Unless we should talk about Renesmee probably. That's a big part of his life. Like,
we don't see them a lot together.
No, like the only thing that it is that Renesmee is his new community, right? Like, he literally leaves the werewolf pack.
He literally imprinting is a community thing, too. Like, he literally is like, I become whatever she needs me to be in that moment. It's all about usefulness.
Right. Which doesn't mean that all werewolves are Hufflepuffs either. But, like, This is
No,
this
it's
is
for
literally
Jacob.
this is what Jacob was waiting for. This is why he was hanging all over Bella supposedly. So like, yeah.
I need to get away from Jacob now. I can't talk about him anymore. I'm sorry. I know there are going to be some people out there who like him. If you do, feel free to fight me at 1 o'clock after meet me in the parking lot of 7-Eleven. Like, I can't take this dude.
Rachel will go at it with this new generation of Jacob lovers.
But now my baby Edward, who can do no wrong. He can do no wrong.
Except explain to the people why you're so upset that he is in your house. Every single time. He's pathetic. Every single time that I'm like, Edward is literally the worst type of Gryffindor. She's like, I don't want him.
I wanted him to be a Slytherin so bad.
I
wanted him to be a Slytherin. Oh, yeah. He's because he's a simp. Okay, like to the nth degree, like to the most you can be one.
Yeah, but no, this is why. This is how Edward is the worst, like the worst a Gryffindor could be, because he takes that self-righteousness and he only turns it on himself. Only himself.
Yes.
So it's like, it's this really weird cycle of this self-righteousness and then also the guilt that Gryffindors get. But there's never any outlet. It's just all sitting in his gut and in his brain forever. And it just turns over and over and over. And this is Edward's life. Like that.
It is. I'm a monster. I don't deserve to live.
My favorite anecdote for Edward is he's like struggled with this. He's like, how could Carlisle turn me? And Carlisle's like, dude, you're a good person. Like, I saw something in you. And Edward's like, no. And my favorite thing about Edward is that he's got this brother who literally cannot stop himself from eating people, who has genuine problems with it. And Edward's like, Jasper is like a tortured soul. Like, we have to forgive him and just give him a chance. Like, Jasper almost kills Bella. And Edward's like, it's my fault. Like, I shouldn't have done this to Jasper. But so he's like falling all over himself to be like, Jasper's okay. Jasper's okay. And then Edward himself, as a newborn with Carlisle, the first one that Carlisle turns, so this is all new to them, the not eating people thing, manages to not do it, is like, maybe I do want to eat people, spends a year only eating rapists, and then decides it's not for him, and the rest of his life is like, I deserve death for killing all those rapists. Like, I can't, I'm the worst person ever to exist. Standing next to not only Jasper, but every other single vampire in the world who's just tearing indiscriminately into babies and other people. And Edward's like, put me under the guillotine. I don't deserve this life. And it's like,
electric chair.
Esme's going after him like, I've been waiting so long for you to find the love of your life. You deserve this, Edward. And Edward's like, Esme, I deserve death. And it's like,
I can't, dude. I argued so hard with her at one point. I was like, no, but maybe he's a Slytherin because, like, you have like one person and like Bellas is one person. And I was trying so hard. I did not want him in my house, okay? Because part of being a Gryffindor is like, it's that guilt. We do. I mean, if you're a Gryffindor, if you think you're a Gryffindor, you don't have guilt. You're probably not.
No. It's a guilt born of a very specific thing. It's a guilt born of not fulfilling your responsibility. And your responsibility is whatever you deem to be right. So
yeah. And he grapples with
Edward's responsibility is to not be a blood-sucking monster, but he is. So his entire life is ruined.
His entire existence is a prison. He can't, he's fucked. So he's
like, I'm going to hell. I'm just waiting for the day. Like, that's his entire life.
He lives 100 years just like going to high school because like what he has to blend for his family. He's doing it for his family. It's all obligation and guilt, which is so Gryffindor. I can't even. I like, my family gets on my nerves all the time, and I tell Lauren all the time, I'm like, I don't want to see them. I don't want to talk to them. They're so fucking annoying. And then she'll call me later, and I'll be like, I can't. I'm helping my mom.
My mom's been living at my house for 2 days, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. She's like, don't you hate her? I'm like, yeah, I have to. Like, you have this sense of moral obligation.
And it's not even, and like, Edward doesn't hate his family. He adores his family. And he leaves for like a week or so to go be with the vampire family in Alaska because being around Bella is literally hurting him. And then he comes back because he's like, I've been away too long. He's like, I can't ask them to move again just because I'm literally going to murder this girl. Like, it's too much to ask of them. Edward.
Yeah. Well, you know what I
this
really...
girl smells like crack to you. I think that's enough reason to tell.
So this is... You were saying before that you like Eclipse because it's the one time Edward like stands up for himself and does something he wants.
It's the one time that his righteous anger is anywhere near focused on anybody else. He almost gets mad at Bella. Almost.
It's true. But my favorite book is Twilight. And I think one of the reasons is because he goes on this like rebellious fate, like this whole thing, like, eat it, Rosalie. I'm going to fucking do what I want. Like, he's tortured himself. And then he has this like very Gryffindor, like, well, going to hell, might as well do it right? He has this one moment of irresponsibility where he just throws himself into it. And listen, he's not throwing himself into it fully for pleasure, right? It's literal torture for him to be around her. So he's self-flagellating. He's whipping himself in the back.
He's like, I deserve this. Rebelling. He's like, deep inhale. This is my fate.
Yeah. No, he's literally like, I'm gonna do this because like I want it. Oh God, I should die. Oh, kill me, take me now. Like literally,
Bella one time is literally like, does that hurt? And he's like, it feels like my entire body is on fire every second I'm with you. And she's like, Jesus Christ. And he's like, this is what I deserve. He's like, it's like sticking an iron down my throat. Yeah, and I deserve every second of it. Can I smell your hair? Can I get another whiff? It's breathe awful. Into my mouth.
Midnight Sun. I felt so bad. You don't get the scope of it when you just read Twilight. You don't get the scope of the pain he goes through until you read Midnight Sun, and it's just like, you emo bastard. Oh my God. So bad. But it's just in everything. The loyalty to his family, it's so Gryffindor because it manifests in this intense guilt. And it's a hugely Gryffindor thing because other houses are loyal, right? Gryffindor is not only the only house that's loyal. But it's like what Lauren was saying. He was willing to put himself through sticking hot irons down his throat so they don't have to move. They're billionaires a million times over. They can go wherever they want. But he doesn't want to inconvenience them. Like, Carlisle really likes his job.
Yeah, Rosalie's like, I don't want to be a sophomore again. And Edward's like, oh my God, Rosalie, your feelings.
I know.
Oh, no. It's, oh my gosh, he's great. And listen, there's a distinct point. I don't know if I could name it exactly. But when you read Twilight and when you read Midnight Sun, there is a distinct point where we would recognize, Edward would probably recognize it as this is when I fell in love with Bella. But I can recognize it as it's where his responsibilities switched from torture myself to be there for, like, be it for Bella. Like, whatever, keep Bella alive, like, whatever, be it for Bella. And like he was never ever going to turn her, but he was going to be a part of her life. And that was just like another peg in his torture bucket. Like it was part of his punishment. Like he did not think, he told Esme this so many times, he did not see Bella as a reward for him being a good person. She was another part of his torture that he was like the reason that being around her hurts me is because I enjoy it and I'm not allowed to. And so that is why, like we already talked about how he was willing to like let Jacob impregnate her or whatever. But he so many times was like, we had talked about this before the podcast, like Rachel was like, he was gonna let her marry Jacob and then like stick around and watch her grow old and then kill himself after she had died of natural causes.
Yeah.
Like he was like literally he saw the girl. There was a point where it switched, like the flip switched in his head where he was like, I'm the guardian angel for this. Whatever. And then he was like, and that's it. And that's the rest of my life.
Yeah. The guardian angel. I'm the guardian demon. Electric chair. He's unbelievable. Like even consider New Moon when he goes, like only a Gryffindor could plan this poorly. What was your grand plan here, bro? He left. He didn't even go live with his family.
Alice was like skipping through in her head, like, which way would he do it? And I cannot remember her exact words, but she was like, of course he would be this fucking dramatic. Like, this is what.
Yeah. Literally. I'm going to go sparkle in the sunlight amongst all the red hoods in where are they? In Vienna? Like, where are they?
No, it's The Vatican, isn't it? They live in the Vatican.
Sorry, I'm thinking of a V word. I'm a great Catholic. Anyway, he's in Vatican City with this in like it's like a festival.
Plaza. It's the plaza. Yeah. No, it's the festival. It's the day that they celebrate the Volturi, that they kicked all the vampires out of the city.
Yep. And that's the day he's like, I'm going to take down the Volturi. I'm going to take all you motherfuckers with me. And I'm going to take off my shirt and glitter. And then I'm going to go poof. Like come on. It was so dramatic, and it's so funny that Alice said it too. She clocked it. She knows he's Gryffindor. Oh my God. I can't. This is why I don't want him in my house, because he's such a stereotype. Such a stereotype.
He's not. But he's like the stereotype in the wrong direction.
I know. It's weird. He's a weird Gryffindor. None of his
anger is turned. Even Jacob. Jacob deserves it. He deserves his anger. And Edward's like, you make Bella really happy. So like,
yeah. I think if you probably got into his head in Eclipse, if Stephanie Meyer ever gives us that, he probably would be really pissed at Jacob.
Yeah.
When you bring up Eclipse, like when he does get angry, he gets in his face, he's going to fucking he's going to kill him. Mm-hmm. He'll do it. Like he does have anger. You see it towards Victoria. Anyone who's going to hurt what he feels is his.
Yeah.
He'll murder you.
Dean Winchester. So like.
Exactly. That's where it comes out, right? He doesn't get mad at his people. Gets mad at the people trying to hurt his people. If his people do something wrong, he internalizes it and finds a way to make it about himself and how it's his fault. Hugely Gryffindor, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, you have other Gryffindors who do pick on the people they love, like me and
no,
Dean
but you're right. You're right. Well, like I fucking hate myself. I'm always going to come back to Dean as a Gryffindor, and it's not because of Supernatural. It's just because I'm so immersed in him. He's a really easy lightning rod. But I'm like trying to think of moments when Dean gets mad at Sam, and like there's the outward burst of like initial at him, and then he absolutely internalizes it and how is it my fault?
Yes.
But there's still a bit of also like Sam's such an idiot. And like Edward doesn't have that, which is why I said he's the worst kind of Gryffindor.
Now Edward doesn't have it about Bella. But Edward probably does have it about, like, again, if you get in later, does have it a little bit about Emmett, a little bit about Jasper. Like, if they piss him off, definitely Rosalie.
I don't know. I was going to say definitely Rosalie, but I don't know that Edward likes her.
He does, though. He loves her.
Does he? Or do Carlisle and Esme and Emmett love her and Edward loves them?
Maybe he didn't love her at first, but I think he does now. Like, I think he'd do anything for her. But then again, a Gryffindor would do anything for anyone.
I don't know. I don't know.
So it's hard to tell.
I don't know. I feel like she's part of his family, like, adjacently. I don't know that he...
Like a cousin?
Yeah. Well, like, I have responsibility for this person because they're the love of another person that I have responsibility for. So they're automatically a part of that. They're under that shield. But... Yeah,
she's definitely his least favorite in the family. But that's what I mean. Like, you can't say he doesn't have a bad thought about anybody ever. He thinks terribly of all the kids in the school. He's just like, stupid fucking idiot. These dumbass thoughts.
Especially the boys who are all over Bella. Which is the height of hypocrisy to me, that he's like, can't believe all these guys are simping after her. Well, he's like...
I know. He's like, she's nothing special. Then he smells her and he's like, oh, fuck. Like, he's so judgmental. He is actually very judgmental. He's very bitchy about it. That's a very Gryffindor thing.
Yes, he's an extreme.
He keeps it in his head. But he is so dramatic about everything. He's like, what is it that Jessica thinks about, like, how hot he is? And he's like, little girl, I would fucking kill you. I would kill everyone in this room right now. I'm a monster. Like, it's like his head is one long villain speech, but like about how he hates himself instead. He's not threatening anyone, really. Right. He's threatening himself.
Right.
I can't take this man. I can't. And then even in Breaking Dawn, he should... Like Lauren said, he should hold her down, like in a conversation we had before. Just hold her down and take the baby out. He can do it. No, because, okay, we've already established you're a baby hater. Okay, we know this now about you. Known baby hater, Lauren. No, I'm kidding. She hates Renesmee, though, which is fine. A lot of people do.
I do.
So she's like,
said why? It so frankly, but in all honesty... There was no reason that the baby had to kill Bella if Edward didn't want that to happen.
Correct. He could have done that, right? But he was never, ever going to disrespect what she wanted. Never. And I think that's a really big Gryffindor thing.
And it was also part of his punishment where he was like, see what I did to her, and now I have to watch it happen. And then I have to raise her demon spawn, and then I have to die.
And he would have done it too. Yeah, he would have raised that kid. He would have done it for her. Like, he's ridiculous. So I think that's a huge Gryffindor thing too, right? Not stepping on other people's that you love anyway and respect, not forcing them to do anything they don't want to do, because we know we wouldn't want to be in that position. We wouldn't want to be forced into something. And I think that's a huge thing. Like, many of us have problems with authority. So we don't like people telling us what to do. And I don't think Gryffindors like to push that onto other people. So he's not going to make that decision for her. He respects that's what she wants. And he's just going to try to find a way to take control of it and get a handle on it. But he's so out of his fucking depth. Carlisle can't help him. No one can help him. And to the very end, he's like, I've got my venom in fucking vials here that I'm just going to inject into her major arteries and shit. Like, he's not going to give up.
I'm thinking about what you, because I don't know if I guess I agree with you to some extent. I'm thinking about it too, because I also think this is an Edward thing again, because y'all will get all over somebody if the decision that they're making is wrong. Like, if it's wrong, because I was thinking, I'm done bringing up Dean. I'm not going to do it again. But it's the self-righteousness turning it on himself again. Extremely logically, the self-righteousness, this is wrong thing here is that it is wrong for this baby to be born if it is literally killing Bella. It's wrong. This is it. It's wrong. And he's taking that, and instead of projecting it out onto Bella and the baby, he pushes and then immediately lassos it back and shoves it into himself and is like, this is what you get for thinking you could have any of this. And you are an abomination. Your very existence is a freak of nature. And this is what happens. You impregnated this girl. How is that even a fucking thing that you're a vampire that impregnated a human? You disgusting. You're disgusting. This is what you get.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job of impersonating Edward there. That's literally it. And no, you're right. We will tell you, Gryffindors will tell you when you're being stupid or when we think you're being stupid. And he does. He does tell Bella that he thinks it's wrong, that this is ridiculous. He just sits in the corner judging, with his arms crossed,
oh yeah,
baby.
and he goes and gossips with Jacob too about it.
Yes.
He's she's being a fucking idiot. Jacob's
he's
sorry, man.
Can you, he's I don't know, fucking her the first time, worked. Do you want to do it the second time to, get her to do the right thing here? Because, it's ridiculous how they talk about her. He literally, this is how stupid he is. He thinks, she just wants sex and children. You can give that to her. No, dumbass. She loves you. You can have this. It's okay. You don't have to pawn her off to someone else because you think that's what she wants. He doesn't get it at all. He's no, clearly I'm the problem here, and I could never give her sex again.
I'll remove myself from the equation, and then it'll be fixed.
Yeah. And again, I'll go live in my bush, and I'll stare at her from the bushes and watch her get old, and then I'll die. And then I gotta think, I gotta top the last one I tried. I can't just take my shirt off this time. It's gotta be more dramatic. He's something else. That's what I'll say about Mr. Edward. But I love him so much. Because this is the thing, too. Lauren's right. He's not the kind of Gryffindor like Dean is. He doesn't just come out and start screaming at people.
I made a tweet earlier this week where I was Gryffindor's PR team did a hell of a job when they labeled them with the word brave instead of with the word sheer audacity. And it's less obvious in Edward. You can see it in Emma Swan and Dean Winchester and I don't know who
Snow White.
Diana. You can see the sheer audacity. And Edward's, because he's so internal, it's literally a one-sided conversation with himself where the sheer audacity is him having a thought that he can be happy and then his brain immediately responding, how dare you? And that's his entire life.
Yeah. And it's also in him being a gossipy bitch about everything, how he can't stand, if you just read Midnight Sun and you never read Twilight, you think Edward's a dick. He's really sitting there talking shit in his head about these kids. He can't stand them, and he can't stand Rosalie, and he just judges everyone. He just sits there looking at you fucking God, idiots, I could do that better. I could kill you in a second, snap my fingers, and you'd be dead. He's very Gryffindor that way. He's just not outright yelling it in your face. And it might be that he's a product of his time, right? What are Victorian Gryffindors like? maybe they're not all the town alcoholics, like fighting and getting thrown out of bars. Maybe some of them are high society and they have to keep it inside. So I don't know. Maybe that's where that comes from, because he's not your stereotypical Gryffindor that way. Like, you're dumb, and I'm going to tell you you're dumb, and then I'm going to blame myself for you being dumb, but you're dumb. He does it differently. He does it with manners, which is not common.
He does it with manners.
That's why I love him. I think that's why I love him. Like, I kind of wish I had a little bit of that. Like, maybe I could not start screaming and yelling at the top of my lungs when I'm angry at you, but nah, I can't. I've tried. It doesn't work. But then you
have to scream at yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd rather like disassociate and not think about it.
Right. I was going to say, and have some, like, that's the thing that's wrong with Edward too. Like, I think a lot of Gryffindors, I don't want to say lack self-awareness, even though that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say it that meanly, because it's not always like that. It's like they lack they expect so much from themselves that they lack a certain understanding of what it is that they can actually do and what it is people actually expect of them. Like, you can have like the sheer audacity Gryffindors that to the strongest sense of the word lack a sense of like self. And then you can have the ones that are like feeling guilt because they're not like saving the ocean, and it's like that's not on you. Like, you have to bring it back, and you have to bring that self-awareness back or whatever. And then you have Edward, who is so far on the opposite direction of self-awareness that he lacks self-awareness because he is self-awarenessing so hard, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, because it does make a lot of sense. And it just also comes down to a sense of obligation, guilt, like responsibility, all that shit too. I mean, it all boils down to that. He thinks it's all on him. All the responsibility is on him to do the right thing. All of the guilt is on him. All the blame is on him. He internalizes everything. And that's huge in the house. Like, it's the same like what you're saying. If you're the kind of person who, you want to save the ocean, right? You want to save the baby animals, baby turtles. It will keep a Gryffindor up at night that they're not literally like in the ocean physically removing the plastic from it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it literally kills him when he does something that he finds morally wrong. And his existence to him is morally wrong.
Yes.
So he has to kill himself mentally all day.
His existence is what is wrong with him.
I can't imagine feeling that way all the time because you being alive is wrong, but you can't, like, he can't get rid of himself. It would hurt his family.
Right.
Like,
he's stuck. And it's so weird too. Like, nobody else who was worse than him, their existence isn't wrong. I was even thinking of just like Carlisle. Carlisle went around being a normal vampire for a while, and he fucking hung the moon for Edward. Like, Edward's like, Carlisle could never do anything wrong. Like, he's the head, like, and like, so Edward almost takes on the role as the head of the family in the sense that he's like, I'm here to protect everyone and be the moral righteous police, where I'm like letting everybody know that they're okay or it's not okay or whatever. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
It is. He's annoying.
He's insane.
I love it.
He's insane.
He's not even like outwardly annoying, but it's so funny because you can see how exasperated and like done with him some of his siblings are. Like Alice like can't take it. Sometimes she's like, oh my God, Edward, please, I can't anymore. Like, I can't take the brooding. I can't take it. And you just know Emmett is like, I don't get this dude. Right. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's wrong with you, man? But yeah, you can tell like he's not going to understand Edward, and his family is so sick of him. Everyone's so tired of him. Even like the Denali vampires, like, Edward, you have to like chill out a little bit, man. He's like, no, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to like, oh, do you remember when Bella asks him, have you ever, like, would you die if you held your breath?
Right.
Like, for too long, like indefinitely. And he's like, no, we could do it indefinitely, I guess. You know, I've gone underwater and done it. And, it just gets uncomfortable, like not smelling. Can you just imagine Edward at the bottom of the ocean just sitting there like, my existence is a prison. Hopefully this time I'll need, like this one will get me. Maybe this will get me. Like,
didn't he go through a period of trying to kill himself?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. And the Volturi wouldn't do it. Didn't he go and, he asked them in New Moon to do it. Yes. And they were like, it would be such a waste. And he's like, then I'm just going to I'm going to
make you do it.
Scene.
I'm going to make you do it. Yeah, he did. He asked them first as like a courtesy, and they didn't kill him because of Carlisle or whatever. But yeah, he like, and like he's so funny. Every time he gets rewarded, it's immediately like, how is this ruining my life? And it is. It's ruining his life. Like, every single time something good happens to him, it's actually like, how is this a punishment for me in this everlasting prison that I will never escape or whatever?
And Bella at one point starts to she's like, fight back, fight, like whatever. And he's like, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I deserve this.
He's like,
so
everything that happens to me is something that I deserve. He's like, Bella, I don't have a soul. And I'm going to hell. And Bella's like, literally, I don't think Bella's very like religious or into this stuff, but she's literally like having issues with this. Like, she's freaking out that he's telling her this and she's not liking it. And he's like so matter of fact. He's like, I don't have a soul. She's like,
me, a soul? I'm a monster. Skin of a killer, Bella. It's sparkling like fucking diamonds. I can't. Oh. I heard that Robert Pattinson ad-libbed the spider monkey line, but it's like super Edward. It's perfect. He nailed it. Like, you better hold on tight, spider monkey. Like, you dramatic ass bitch. What's wrong with you? But I love him. He's a fantastic, wonderful character. And you get to see him be happy finally in the back half of New Moon. I'm sorry, in the back half of Breaking Dawn. Why can't I say this title right? I don't like the book. That's probably why. But you get to see him actually be happy, which is great. And you get to see him take joy out of the fact that Bella is kicking Jacob's ass when she finds out about Renesmee, and he's super, super happy about it.
You named my daughter after the Loch Ness monster?
Yeah. Calm down, Bella. Calm down. It's Nessie. You nicknamed my daughter.
Anyway, that's our 2-hour episode. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Yeah, probably a lot of that's going to get cut. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Galentine's Day, if that's your thing. Happy Team Edward versus Team Jacob Day, if that's your thing. Like, whatever you're going for. Come fight Rachel if you are Team Jacob.
1 o'clock tomorrow behind the 7-Eleven on... No, seriously. Do not start coming at me with this because we won't be friends. We won't be friends. I'm just kidding. I fight with everyone. So, honestly, I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. It's a silly one, but we wanted to do a fun episode of a fun love triangle. Listen, it's a little old school, right? But we did just have the Twilight Renaissance, and Twilight's always going to be relevant for its memes. I'm sorry. It just will be. Forever. If I have anything to say about it. So, that being said...
If you don't stop putting goddamn Robert Pattinson on my Twitter timeline.
No,
in my group chat.
Oh my God.
With your disgusting comments.
I don't find anything in what I say disgusting or offensive. She's literally squirming
right now. She's like doing something with her hands out of camera.
My palms are sweating because you started talking about Robert Pattinson. I love that man. Oh no. Don't start. My husband's home. Stop. Okay. We gotta go.
I am gonna say, I'm gonna do this. We don't usually really like preview our next week, sometimes because we don't know what the fuck it's gonna be. And then sometimes I don't know why, because we like surprises. But I will let you guys know that the next episode that we do is going to be Bridgerton. And I just wanted to let you know, in case you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't, where the fuck have you been? It's the easiest thing to watch. It's extremely hot.
It's spicy.
I watched it with my mom and it was just barely okay, but I also have a good relationship with my mom, so I wouldn't watch it.
What are you trying to say?
It's there's a whole montage of sex in one episode. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you that we're doing Bridgerton just so that you can watch it, because Rachel and I have we have noticed that when things are new, it can be hard for people to have watched them. We did Wonder Woman like 2 days after it came out, and we think a lot of people hadn't had a chance to watch it yet, and that's why we did a whole episode giving spoilers, and then people were like, "What the fuck?" and it didn't get listened to. But I wanted to tell people it's been out for a while. It's really good. TikTok is making a musical on it, so you should watch it because we're gonna sort some people in it, and I'm excited about it. Some people. I don't know who yet. Simon, obviously, because he's the only one worth talking about. And then Daphne, and then maybe another one. I don't know, because they just got greenlit for the second season. And I have read the books, and there's a book per Bridgerton sibling. So it doesn't make sense to do like Anthony when the second season is going to be Anthony and the girl he falls in love with. that all of you don't know, but I know. So
just give it all away, Lauren.
I'm not going to spoiler, even though it's not a spoiler because they're books that are over a decade old. But anyway, that's what we're doing next week. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Happy Valentine's Day. Go on Apple Podcasts and please rate us. We have 12 whole 5-star ratings on Apple. And I know, isn't it cute? If you could give us more, literally, it's pathetic how excited we get. So
it is.
You should give us 5-star ratings. You should make a comment. If we sound smart to you, if we don't, lie about it. But just tell people. And then just listen.
If we've tricked you into liking us,
tell your friends to listen to us. We're the only people who are right about Hogwarts houses. So I think that should be like in our favor.
And if you do it, I'll send you really good Twilight memes. I got some really good ones.
Also, we had promised earlier that we would do a Destiel episode after a certain amount of followers and reviews, and we have reached that milestone almost twice. So no, not twice over, but we have gone well past that milestone. So that episode is coming. We promise. The reason that we are avoiding it is because it needs to be half an hour, and I know we're going to talk for 3 hours, and we can't.
It's not going to be half an hour. Yes, we can.
It has to be half an hour. It's a bonus. It's not a full episode. It's a bonus episode.
I don't care.
We can
break the rules.
It cannot be a full episode.
It can.
It's
it can.
Coming.
It will.
All of that's going to be cut.
Nope.
But anyway, thanks for joining us this time around. I hope this is our highest listened to episode ever.
Do it for Edward. Do it for Edward.
Do it for Edward because nobody else does anything for him, okay?
What
not
if
even
he's
him.
Not the hero?
Not even
what
him.
What if he's the bad guy?
All right. Bye, guys. See you next week.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!